This is a re-upload. I hated the lighting the last time I brought this thing out, which, it looks horrible. So I decided to redo it, refilm everything, because this rifle deserves it. It is a gorgeous rifle with that brass receiver, solid brass receiver. It's beautiful. But this rifle's claim to fame is the addition of the side loading gate. Before this, basically every Henry had to be loaded from the tube, which this rifle does retain. You can still load it from the tube, but now you have the additional way of loading it from the loading gate, which is amazing. I love it. Personally, I think the addition of the loading gate makes the rifle look way more attractive. I think it is a beautiful rifle with that side loading gate. Now I find I prefer to load it from the loading gate. There's no sharp edges on the inside, and it feels really smooth and a lot quicker to load than to take this out, which you have to turn this little notch and pull this whole thing out. And then you drop all the shells into that little slot versus just stick them into the loading gate. I just find it a lot faster. This is a solid brass receiver that's apparently heat treated to have the same strength as steel, and it's beautiful. So the wood is American walnut with laser engraving on it. I think it's absolutely beautiful, the laser engraving. It's beautiful. I love all the brass that's on this rifle, the receiver, the butt plate, as well as the front barrel band. Now, if I had to say a complaint, the swing swivel on the back here is not brass where it is on the front. The front is solid brass. It's a barrel band, and it has the swing swivel on the bottom. I would have preferred if both of them were brass. It just would have made the rifle, match a little bit better, but that's just a personal preference. All right, I haven't done a rapid fire with this, so I'm going to. Here on the wood, you can see there's a little chip missing. That's how it came. Oh man, I was so sad. It's such a beautiful rifle, and then you look at it and then you see that little, it just irritates me. Now, since my last review, if you've seen that video, since then, this rifle has really smoothed out. It was a pretty stiff action when I first got this thing. You had to kind of grab it like this and manhandle it, but as you can see, it's definitely broke in a lot. Now, one thing I did do was I polished the top of the hammer right here, and I polished a couple areas where the bolt makes contact, and that really definitely smoothed it out, but shooting it was what it really needed. But you can see the portion where it rubs against the hammer. It's still a little bit rough, but when you're shooting it, you don't really notice it, and it's definitely smoothed out a lot. The trigger on this rifle is beautiful. I looked online and they're saying it's around a 4.11 pound trigger pull. I would have guessed 3. There is no play in that trigger. There's just the trigger pull. Oh, it is so nice. It is a fantastic trigger pull. And it also has a trigger safety in it, a transfer bar, so that if the trigger is not pulled, the transfer bar doesn't allow the firing pin to be struck. So it does have a safety, but it has no manual safety on it, which I would prefer it not to, because I think manual safeties on lever guns kind of tacky it up personally. Another complaint I would say about this rifle is I don't like the front sight. That little white bead, it disappears. I mean, I was shooting at white poster board, so that could have been one of the problems. But even when I was well, I wasn't shooting, but when I was aiming at the brush, I just found it a little too small and it just disappeared. There's a little white diamond on the back that kind of distracts me. I just don't like it. Personally, if I was going to hunt with this, that would be the first thing to go. I'd want that bead a little bit bigger and a different color, but that's just personal preference.
Watching the grass all go.
But I love this rifle. I think it is a gorgeous rifle. If you're looking for a 30-30 caliber rifle that's beautiful, look no further than this.